This is Beacon Radio. I'm your host, Steve Teal, talking to Rocco Grimaldi of the San Antonio Rampage, but not just the Rampage, of the Colorado Avs. And we're talking and learning about some of his background and his strong faith and what God is doing in his life. So, Rocco, then, if you don't mind, catch me up. Tell me then what happened. I mean, you're 12 years old. Kind of walk us through at least some of the steps of your development then. That's amazing, though. That's just the coolest story.
Yeah, so it was nice for them to be able to open their house up to me and my mom, and then my dad when he came out later. It was special. And obviously they're Christian people. They love the Lord, and so it was a special friendship, special relationship. They took really good care of us. I played on the team that was a 92 birth year, so a year older than I am. I made great friends on that team, and friends that I still talk to this day. And I played with Little Caesars for 4 years, and kept getting better each year and kept developing. And our team did really, really well when I was there. I played there for 4 years, and in the last 3 we won the state championship, and the last 2 we won the national championship.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it was pretty cool the things that the Lord was doing, because our team was definitely not the best.
Oh, okay.
Ever.
Yeah.
Each year we definitely weren't the best. We weren't one of the top teams in the league. And there's always teams that were better than us, but it just seemed like every time we go to the final in state, something miraculous would happen. The last 3 years we were always down. The first 2 years was just one game, and that was it. And both times we're down in the third period, and we come back and win. And the next year, the best of 3, we lose the first game, then we come back and win the next 2.
Wow.
It was like the underdog story the entire time I was there, and we just kept winning, and it was cool because we didn't have the superstars on our team. We just had a bunch of guys who got along and played well together and had fun, and it's pretty special to be a part of teams like that.
Rocco, you are just a winner. I mean, there's just no way around it. And I know you kind of strike me as a pretty humble guy nonetheless. So I don't know how you answer that, but you are just a winner. And I know you're a strong leader. And I know, obviously that you had a great group of guys, around you. But I don't know how you do it. I mean, God just made you a leader and a winner, or you learned how. I don't know what the answer is. You got any ideas?
No, with the humility part, my parents have always been all over me my entire life to be humble.
Okay.
Be grateful and all that stuff. And if I ever got a big head, they would have smashed it right away. So if they would have ever saw me or heard me do anything arrogantly, they would have crushed that real quick. So,
yeah. Wow. Great parents.
You got two cops for parents. We'll make sure that you're doing the right thing. But no, just being a leader, it's, I don't believe you're born a leader. I believe that you can be made into a leader, and anyone can be made into a leader, whether it's in sports or business or just in a family, whatever. So my parents have modeled that for me. Just my dad, the way he's worked his entire life for our family and how he puts in the extra time and overtime, late night shifts in the police force, and how humble he's always been and how soft spoken. He doesn't say much, but when he does, you listen. Mm-hmm. And same with my mom, how she's just a prayer warrior and is constantly sending encouraging things, and it's pretty cool. And then my sister as well, just how she's been a leader with soccer and a leader to me, someone I've looked up to in the faith realm. It's it's good to be surrounded by people that you believe are leaders, and you can emulate and model your life after them. And it's just something that I can continue to grow and get better at each day. Right.
So what are some leadership qualities that you try to bring to the Rampage or to any hockey team that you're a part of or in life?
Yeah, well, I think for me the biggest thing, something that I look for in a leader, which is something that I obviously try to be, is it's not the guy who has the most games played. It's not the oldest guy. It's the guy who brings everyone together and makes them all feel a part of it. That's the guy that I think is the true leader. My first year in San Antonio, Greg Zanon was our captain. He's an older guy, I think like 34 years old at the time, and he's obviously the easy leader to pick. But he truly was one of the best captains I've ever played under. He didn't treat the rookies just like they're rookies or whatever. He treated everyone like they're an important part of the team, because obviously each player brings an important aspect, whether that's scoring or hitting or whatever. And he made everyone feel welcome. He made everyone feel like they were a part of it. And, that was pretty cool for me to see as a rookie that year. And that's something that I want to do. I want to make the new guys feel welcome. A lot of a lot of guys you see at different teams, the older guys, they try to use their power. This happened to me when I was a rookie, so now it's my turn.
Yeah.
And I'm the opposite. I try to be even nicer to those guys and make them feel welcome, because once they get their confidence and once they feel good about their game, the better our team's going to be. So I try to, make that process go by faster.
Man, that just makes a lot of sense. And I mean, I even remember one of my daughters played some college volleyball, and it was the same sort of way. The upperclassmen treated the freshmen like garbage, and she, being a leader herself, was like, "We're not going to do that. I mean, we're just not going to do that." So I admire that. Now let's talk about your faith and your leadership, and how are the guys? Are they receptive? What's been your experience? Because you are pretty outspoken about your faith, and has that rubbed anybody the wrong way? Have you had to overcome that, or what's that been like? Because I'm sure there's some young Christian hockey players or athletes or just kids in school that are hearing this, and they want to shine for Jesus. They want to do the right thing, but sometimes you run into resistance. What has that been like for you, Rocco? And we're talking to Rocco Grimaldi of the San Antonio Rampage, but not for long. Pretty soon it's the Colorado Avs.
Yeah, I haven't really played with many guys who look down upon me or made fun of me for my faith or anything like that, which has been great. The times that I hear it is more just, like I said, the internet trolls and people posting their articles and their opinions and all that stuff. So no, it's been really cool. I actually just had a conversation with a teammate 2 days ago, and obviously he's not a Christian, and I am, and we had a really nice open discussion. And the one thing that I think about Christians today, whether it's true for some and it's not true for others, whoever it may be, is that when they get in the conversation with people about faith versus whatever, it seems like a lot of the times it can come across as judgmental. A lot of people don't take that the right way, and then it gives all of us Christians that judgmental tag. And I just want to say this, just that you can have an honest conversation with someone. You can tell them exactly how you feel about Jesus and the death and resurrection and everything, and you can do it in a way that's loving and not causing a fight and not causing a disturbance. And so that's what I do. Whether, people hear you're a Christian, they think, oh, he's, this and that.
Right.
Definitely not true. I just had a conversation with a teammate 2 days ago, and neither of us got mad. We totally did not agree on things. I was curious to see what he thought. He was curious to see what I thought, and it was a really nice conversation. And he, at the end of it, he said, what? Let's have this conversation another time as well.
That's awesome.
It's been good. It's been interesting to know. No, I've never met anybody like you before, he said.
Wow.
And so, there are ways to go about it. Standing on a platform and shouting it out at your teammates is, for me, not the way to go. Obviously, on my personal Facebook or Twitter page, I sometimes post things, and that's different than just a face-to-face conversation. And so there's definitely ways to go about it. And every time I've had a conversation with guys over my 20 years of playing, it's been really cool. It's been really great. They've been open and receptive, and if I can tell that they're not into the conversation, I don't try to push it. I just wait till they're ready.
Right. Wow. Well, that's really cool. So just for an example, the other day, did you bring it up or did he bring it up? I'm just kind of curious how that even happened.
No, I just asked him a question. I didn't know. I just asked, hey, do you have a girlfriend or whatever? And that question started everything. So,
wow.
Yeah. So a simple question started that. And we talked it's probably a good 30 or 40 minutes, I think. Like, time was going by pretty fast. And so, yeah, we somehow got into what I believed in my faith, and how I was pure with my wife before we were married, and then what he believes about life and I believe about life, and it was a pretty cool conversation.
You're listening to Beacon Radio. I'm Steve Teal. More of our interview with Rocco Grimaldi right after this.
This is Darrell Lyons, CEO and co-founder of Pax Financial Group. How much do you need to save for retirement? Well, if you have average earnings, you typically need to save about 15% of your gross income. I've seen studies that said 16.67, and I read one the other day that said 13%. When you unpack all the studies, there's a lot of variables, but if you need a rule of thumb, run with the 15% number. It's a fair number. Don't consider matching contributions because that could be yanked away, but start saving 15%, and if you can't reach that 15% number, start with 10 and add another 1% each year over the next 5 years. This is Darrell Lyons, CEO and co-founder of Pax Financial Group. Securities offered through LPL, financial member FINRA, SIPC. Go to paxfinancialgroup.com to learn more.
Starting tonight for the good guys, number 22, Rocco Grimaldi.
We're talking to Rocco Grimaldi, center for the San Antonio Rampage hockey team. You want to, man, I hope you're being blessed. I sure am by hearing his story. And you're going to be blessed by watching him play hockey as well for the Rampage and for the Avs very soon. He's tearing it up in the American Hockey League, doing a great job. And obviously, as fun as that is, even more important, I mean, you hear the man's faith. And that is really inspiring, even more so than the sports. So Rocco, yeah, if you don't mind, telling us about you and Abby's, your approach and plan and what that might mean for some young people listening today.
Yeah, well, I mean, right from the start, even before I started dating her, she's my one and only girlfriend. I was her one and only boyfriend.
Wow, that doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't happen often. It doesn't work out that way always. It's really cool that did. Obviously there's the girls and the boys that you talk to and you want to get to know, but for me, it never worked out with any girl that I talked to. So she was my only girlfriend, so it's pretty cool. Just purity. I mean, my purity started before I met her, and hers did as well before she met me. I don't know exactly when, how old I was. But yeah, that was just something that I committed to when I was young, my entire life, that I would remain a virgin until I got married, and there would be no question about it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, think sex is different than doing the other stuff. And for me, the other stuff is a part of sex, and so I was going to cancel all that out.
Yeah.
And so that was my plan my whole life, that I was not going to do anything before marriage. And, Abby was the same way. That stuff was just not something that we were wanting to do. We thought that was just between husband and wife. And so when I met her and I got to know her and knew that, her faith was really strong. And, first off, she was attracted to me spiritually before, the physical part came up, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, right?
So it wasn't that I was pursuing her because she was a beautiful girl. It was just, she seems like she really loves the Lord, and she's pretty nice, and this could be cool. And then the physical part started coming after, and It worked out really nicely. So yeah, obviously, especially for young men, the purity thing is a daily struggle. Every single day, it's temptation. It's hard. And for me, growing up, I had an accountability team around me that I still have to this day. I have a group of probably 8 to 10 guys that I can text or call at any point in any day and say, listen, I'm struggling with this, or, whatever. And same for them to me. And we can talk it out and help each other and pray for each other, encourage each other, all that stuff. And that helped me a lot growing up. Whether it was a temptation, whether it's a purity temptation, whether it was something in hockey, whatever the struggle was, I think it's really important to have a group of guys, or girls, if you're a girl, have a group of girls around you that can encourage you and pray for you at any point in the day, and that they'll tell you the honest truth and not just the thing that you want to hear. And that's something that I had and I still have, and that's something that was really important for my purity, and that's helped me a lot, and I know it's helped all of them a lot as well. And it's been cool to see how God has blessed that purity with me and Abby, and I encourage whoever's listening today, whether you're still pure and you're hanging on there, I just encourage you to keep hanging on there. Trust me, it's worth the wait, and you only want to do it with your wife or husband one day, and that's the way God created it. And for those of you who may have broken your purity and you wanted to remain pure, or you never even had the thought of remaining pure, and now you're thinking, I wish I wouldn't have done this with that person or whatever, just know that God's a forgiving God. God can give you your purity back. He can restore your heart to you, and just know that He's loving you and that He's ready to give you your purity back. And He wants that purity to be for you and your significant other only. So it's a pretty big God and pretty cool God that we serve.
I agree. That is awesome. Pretty big and pretty cool God that we serve. We're talking to Rocco Grimaldi, and of the San Antonio Rampage and soon the NHL Colorado Avs, and he's tearing it up. Like I said, the AHL has been the Player of the Week recently, and going back through his career has done a lot of accomplishments, and this man is a winner, and it's exciting when you can see someone, on the ice is a winner, but also in life and for Jesus is a winner, and that's what you are. Rocco, talk to me a little bit about the accountability team. When did that come up, and did someone else say, hey, you guys need a team? I mean, that's a pretty good-sized team. I often think of an accountability, partner or something, but to have a whole team like that, how did that come about?
I've just been blessed with good friends everywhere I've gone. I mean, I had close friends when I was in California, then I moved to Michigan, and God gave me great friends at the school I was with, the team I was on, and we moved again, and He gave me more friends there, and I went to college. First person I met is my best friend, now, and he's my roommate and everything, so it's been special to be able to meet guys from all over. I mean, my group of groomsmen and ushers at my wedding were, I think, from 5 different states.
Wow.
I think we had California, Michigan, North Dakota, Minnesota, Oklahoma. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. So we had 5 states.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. And so it's cool. And now all those guys know each other, which is great. Obviously some had met, some and others hadn't, and now everyone knows each other, which is cool. But I don't know when it started. I don't know. Maybe when I was in Michigan, it became a thing.
Yeah.
Where I would just, me and a buddy would just talk about whether it's purity or hockey or, one of my buddies is a soccer player. So, whether they played a different sport or whatever it was, we just wanted to be there for each other. And, we didn't want to be friends that were just there to have fun with each other and enjoy each other's company. We wanted to take it to a deeper level. We want to take it to a personal level. All of my close friends are believers. They all have a faith in Jesus. They all walk the walk. And that's something that's important to me is listening to someone who's going to tell me the truth, but also walks it out and backs it up with what they do. So I have a really good team around me that I can call, like I said, call or text anytime, any day. Just talked to one yesterday and set up a call with them later, tonight. So it's good to have those people around you. And God didn't create us to do life on our own. He created us to do life in relationships with others. And, it's really important for guys to get a bunch of guys around them, and same with girls, to get a bunch of girls around them. You need those people in your life, and, they need you as well. You have valuable input to put into their lives as well. And it's just iron sharpens iron, like the Bible says. So it's definitely give and take.
Right. Listeners, don't you just kind of feel like, we are talking to Tim Tebow. We're talking to Rocco Grimaldi. And, you've just got some great encouragement, not just for young people, but for me and for anybody else, listening. I'm thinking again, maybe about, a young hockey player who's out there, maybe he's on a team and maybe he is trying to be a Christian, but he's feeling like I'm the only one on the team that is. Did you ever find yourself in that situation? And what would you advise, that young hockey player, in feeling like he's the only one who, is trying to live out the Christian faith?
Oh yeah. I've been like that on most of my teams, to be honest.
Okay.
It was actually cool. When I moved to Little Caesars, I made good friends, and I was able to lead some of them to the Lord. So then,
wow.
When I wasn't out there,
Rocco, come on, man, you're killing it. You are a winner. You're a soul winner. What? At that young an age, you're winning those kids to Christ? My gosh.
Yeah, whoever was my roommate in any camp I ever had was in for Bible study. So.
They had no chance. They
didn't have a chance.
Wow.
So yeah, I haven't had many. I don't know if there's any Christians on my team the last year, or I don't even know last year where I was or what. But yeah, most of the time there's either just me or just a couple.
Yeah.
And it's not something that you should feel. I don't know, I guess kids these days, when they're the only Christian, they feel like they're an outcast or whatever. But I think if you go about it in the right way, like I said, if you do it, if you have conversations with your teammates in love and not with any judgment involved, I think you can get some really cool conversations started. And we're fortunate enough in San Antonio, and, most actually NHL and AHL teams have chaplains. And so even though I know a guy may not be, into the God thing, I reach out and say, hey, would you like to go to chapel? And, a lot of times they say no, but, there's sometimes that guys say yes and they come, and a lot of times they come back. And so that's really cool to see. And obviously we have a lot of great chaplains, in both of our leagues here. And so it's really cool for them to just be able to come for 20 minutes, once every couple weeks or whatever, however often the team does it. And, so yeah, it's been really cool to, like I said, I had the conversation a couple of days ago, and, for me, it's more than just talking. It's how I live, and I know that the thing that people should know is that their life is what people are reading more than just what they're saying. So people are watching the way that we live and watching the things that we do, and that's really telling them a lot more about our God and a lot more about our faith than what we say. So that's something that I really, really strongly encourage people to do, is to know that, you might think they're not listening to you, but trust me, they're watching you. If you don't think they're listening, they're definitely watching.
Right.
Live in such a way that's honorable to God.
Well, that's awesome, Rocco. So, I mean, when they're watching you, I mean, what are some of the things, in the locker room, on the ice that, you are kind of, I don't know, extra careful of, or is there anything, attitude or, just as a teammate, as a leader, that you really have to watch out for?
Yeah, I mean, people, the guys make fun of me for not swearing, that's for one. They made fun of me for being a virgin for a while and all those kind of things,
Yeah.
Which was funny to me. I never took them personally. I always thought they were hilarious.
Yeah.
So, you just have to make them fun, and they were never like making fun of me in a way that was degrading or mean. They're always just doing it in teammate fun, and it was fun. I always would give them jabs back, and it became cool. So I mean, they definitely watch you. And I have a story from my sister when this happened. She was in college, and she was also a virgin at the time before she was married, and the girls on her team would always give her a hard time, and this one girl specifically would always be on her case about it a lot, and not in a really teammate-friendly kind of way, almost a kind of degrading kind of way. And I don't remember how many years later it was after they both, graduated college. This girl called my sister up and was like, "Hey, Nikki," and she's like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?" And the girl said, "Hey, I just need to ask you something. How did you stick to your faith even in the midst of us making fun of you for all those years? I don't understand." And so my sister shared with her the gospel, and that girl became a Christian right then and there.
Whoa.
So it's, when I heard that story, I was probably 13 or 15 or something like that at the time, so I was still pretty young. And that encouraged me a lot to know that no matter what the guys in the locker may be saying to you, however they may be acting towards you, there's definitely guys that are watching the way you live, and maybe it's, the next day or the next year or years down the road, if those guys need something, I want them to know that I'm going to be there for them. If they have something that's, a tragedy that they need help in, and they wonder how I was able to get through this or that, I just want them to know that I'm there for them. I'm not here just as a teammate. I'm here as a friend. And so that's something that's really important for me to help them know, years down the road or whatever the case may be. So that's something that we can do as Christians, is always just be open and be vulnerable to them as well. Be honest with them. I think that's something that's really important.
Yeah. All right. Wow. Well, Rocco Grimaldi, San Antonio Rampage, thank you so much for taking this time and really blessing us and encouraging us and teaching us, and we just really appreciate it. And we're going to continue to be cheering you on, not just for hockey and what God is going to do through your talents and your leadership, but also obviously your faith and the inspiration that it gives to us. So, Rocco, thank you so much.
Yep, thank you so much for having me. It was a great time.
This is Beacon Radio. I'm your host, Steve Teal, delivering hope, inspiration, and change. We'll be right back. Are Sundays a joy for you? They are for me, because I get to go into the presence of God at Momentum Bible Church. Our worship leader, John David Cornwell, is so gifted as a musician and leader, but also has the biggest heart to lead us into God's presence, to encounter Him, and to praise Jesus. And he has a great team, too. Join us at Momentum Bible Church Sundays, 10 a.m. at Cibolo Green Elementary School near Johnson High School. MomentumBibleChurch.com has directions and information. What a blast! Oh, my gosh. Roland, I love Rocco Grimaldi. What do you think? You're there every game announcing for the Rampage. What do you think?
I do as well. And San Antonio hockey fans do as well. I think when the final chapter is written, Rocco's going to go down as one of the favorites in San Antonio hockey history in general.
Man, that's fantastic. What makes him, you see him out there. I've seen him play a couple times on TV, and listeners, if you don't get down to the AT&T Center tomorrow, 3 p.m., they are on Fox Sports Southwest. Tune in to watch number 22 and the Rampage. But what makes him as a hockey player? You see him game in, game out, so good and so loved.
My opinion is he's got a lot of what I'll refer to as want to. He wants it. You just never see him quit. He's out to mix it up, and he's out to put some biscuits in the basket for the San Antonio Rampage.
I love it. Thanks to Spurs Sports and Entertainment for the audio. Love those clips. And also, again, Kyle and the Rampage gave us 4 tickets. We had a Facebook contest. Find me on Facebook, Steve Teal. Our winner of those tickets for tomorrow, 4 tickets, Danny McCahey. Congratulations. I got your tickets. Hey, next week we've got another great show, another freak athlete. You know, Rocco Grimaldi he's a freak athlete. And next week we've got American Ninja Warrior Daniel Gill, and his faith story is super compelling as well. You're going to want to hear that. So be back for that. You know, last year he finished second out of all Ninja Warriors. I think he's known as the #Kingdom Warrior. Great guy. Now, for this week, you've been inspired by Rocco Grimaldi. I want you to seek God, and then I want you to remember what Mom says. Be a blessing.